Hi, and welcome to another Happy Panda Toys toy review. My name is Rich.
I'm Ben.
I'm Elenite.
Today we're going to be reviewing the Brainlington, the original colorway by EwokOne and MightyJaxx. So let's start off.
We're going to start off with concept, which basically just refers to the idea behind the toy and its initial thinking.
Yeah. All right. So a long time ago, there was an interview with EwokOne, and he talked about how he liked doing really complex, lettering, graffiti lettering. He was working on his own style, and then he started doing a character here and there. And people that weren't followers of graffiti but like artwork really got into his character stuff, and he kind of didn't like that, so he wanted to merge the two. So he's been working on this character where he could somehow fit in his characters and his lettering together. So that's what the original Brainlington is. It's this brain character, but within the membranes and the matter, he could actually fit his lettering in there. So it kind of, for most people, you can kind of still like his artwork, and he can still kind of do exactly what he likes about doing art and graffiti. So for concept, I got to give it a 5. I love it. I love graffiti artwork. I love bubble letters. This is more of a wild style bubble, and again, fitting it in with this brain, super cool character. A lot of character to the character.
I give it a 5 also. I really like the idea of merging the concept of the graffiti lettering together with a character that he created. I feel like it creates almost like a new category of toy. So 5 for me as well.
All right. I'm also going to give it a 5. I'm going to admit my gateway drug to vinyl toys and designer toys was graffiti artists who created this style on the platforms that went from walls to something I could actually put in on a shelf in my room. And this executes that perfectly. I know we're not talking about execution yet, but just even in concept, bringing graffiti artists back into the platform business is amazing, something I'd like to see. So,
And
of course,
again,
5.
he was Dunny Series 1, so, All right, what's next?
Oh, just a little note. This is not a new toy. This came out in November of 2013. So we're a little late on this one.
By about 2 years.
But it did just recently become available to retailers at a lower price. So we just stocked these in, which is why we're reviewing it today. The next category we're reviewing is packaging. So really just the box.
There it is.
I think this is a great box. I mean, obviously it has to be quite large in order to fit the toy, but I like the size of it. I really like this graphic in the front. It's got some fun colors. You really get the personality of the character through on this image. And then you've got, just some fun touches here on the sides. So for me, this package is a 5. You really know what you're getting, and it speaks to, yeah, that's great. It speaks to the artist and the type of toy you're getting.
I'm also going to give it, well, what'd you give it?
A 5.
A 5? I'm going to give it a 4. Cardboard, so nothing too fancy. There's no wood, there's no sleeves or overlaying, but I do like the glossy and the matte. I do like that we see the character on the box. It almost looks like it's a seal, like it's, Ewok has put a seal on it. We have his, sketch letters over here. There's plenty of information about the toy as well. And then on the very bottom is a new sort of sketch of the Brainlington. 4 for me.
All right, I'm going to give it a 5. I like the color palettes on the sides. It's essentially a Rubik's Cube. Something to me, I just think that's pretty awesome. It's simplistic. You put the pictures of the figure on there. You've got graffiti letters up top, new Brainlington on the bottom. It says what it is. I appreciate that. I'm going to give it a 5.
All right, category number 3.
Next is translation. So translation refers to from taking the original concept and then putting it into the toy format that we see in front of us. That whole process, how successful do we feel that was? You want to start us off?
Sure, I'll say 5. I love it. They managed to really keep the character. With these arms, they're kind of, dragging behind him very monkey-like. He's got this sort of slouch to his feet. There's this grin and the teeth within the brain matter. All the words are still there, and it wraps all the way around. Really successful in that aspect. I do feel on his original artwork, the Brainlington kind of has a little bit more of a lean back to him than you see in the toy. But I feel like if they did that in the toy, it would have been very restricting to it. And at a certain point, it probably would fall over and tip. But I do feel like this is a very successful representation. And it's a great scale as well. It's nice. It's big. You know, it looks great in the case next to other stuff. I have to give it a 5. I love it.
I agree. 5 for me too. I think the texture and the look of the Brainlington itself, the brain part of the character, is fantastic. I mean, obviously, it started off with a brain character, and it's got so much personality, and the more you look at it, the more details you see. Obviously, you've got like the Ewok here in the front, and then you have what, NYC?
Yeah, it's EwokOne, and then NYC kind of continues this way.
So I think this is one of those things where the more you look at the toy, the more you discover about it. Like, it's got elbows in the back here. It's just a really great translation of the original artwork into the toy format. So 5 for me as well.
Perfect. I want to give this a 5 so bad. I have one thing that just brings it down to a 4. Let's start with the good first, though. I do love the shape of the figure itself. Like everyone else has said, the fully sculpted teeth is great. The lean in the legs. If you look at the hands themselves, they have a lot of texture, a lot of shape to them. I mean, they have palms. That's a huge thing. I think that's amazingly awesome. The one thing that kind of just draws me back is if you look at the profile of it, I want it elongated. Just a little bit longer. The art is more oblong. It's nitpicky. But it's something I would have liked to have seen in a translation of this to a toy. So 4.
Okay, makes sense.
Next we have execution. So how well is the toy made? Are there any issues, any paint problems, anything like that? You want to start us off?
Sure. When you look at, there's an airbrushing in between the membranes, kind of gives you shadow, kind of gives you some texture, really makes the colors pop. The print padding on the teeth looks really clean. The parts don't really have any flaws. All the joints are nice and tight. Everything kind of moves like it's supposed to. There's no real drawbacks here. I would have to say, I guess a 5. You know, there's nothing really wrong with it. You know, it looks good.
I see a couple of flaws up here on the brain. You know, there's...
Oh yeah, the light is actually starting to hit them now, where we
Yeah.
can sort of see.
So
It looks like
there's-
almost smudges.
Yeah, so there's
Take me down to a 4.
There's some issues here with the paint, but... And I didn't really go into this as much when I was talking about the translation, but God, I love this toy. I think it's so cool. It's got a big old butt, which anyone who knows me knows I love toy butts. I think they're amazing. They're awesome. And anytime you can give a toy a butt, it's a big thumbs up for me. But just in terms of the execution, I think, you know, the teeth are still really clean. I like that the teeth are sculpted versus just sort of painted on. And I love the shadows that they have in here. But this paint issue really does knock it down for me for execution from a 5 to a 4.
To be fair to me, when I gave it a 5, we had one in the store, and I was looking over it with a fine-tooth comb, and it was perfect. So this one I kind of really didn't look at as closely. And yeah, she's right. There's tons of little areas where it looks like someone hit it with their finger by accident to kind of create weird glossy areas and smudges.
So what I'm wondering, though, is that a packaging issue? Is that because it's not protected enough in the packaging itself, where maybe it creates rub spots where some of that finish came off if it was put in wet?
That's
You would
part of
see
the
it-
execution,
But you would see it on the clamshell, and I think the clamshell was clean when you opened it. So that would be more of it happened in the factory.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna agree with the consensus here. Give it a 4. I do really like essentially all the details of it. The paint rub's amazing. Again, yeah, just those little smudges. There's a couple spots in there. The teeth even had a couple spots where it's not super clean lines. Totally acceptable, but there is a little bit of room for improvement on the paint technique.
Yeah, it's like kind of averaging the two that we've seen. One was perfect, and then one was less than perfect. So, and then finally,
All right, our last category is value. So, as I mentioned before, recently these have been made available to retailers at a lower wholesale cost than they were initially. So, as a result, we're able to offer them at a lower cost to our customers. Originally, these retailed for $80. We're selling them right now at $60. I feel like 60 is an amazing, amazing, huge deal for this toy. I think it's as close as you get to perfection. I give it a 5.
I'll agree. At 80 it was a little bit expensive, but they're going to be coming down. So yeah, it's totally worth it. It's money. It's 8 inches tall, I believe. Super sculptural. I love it. And it's edition of
Wait.
200 pieces.
You're saying, is it at its money? Is it
No,
or
I'm
is it
sorry.
value?
It's a deal.
Okay.
It's a steal of a deal.
Okay, so you're giving it a 5?
Yeah.
All right. I would say it's right at its money at the $80 price point. 8-inch vinyl for $80 is pretty much right on its mark. That's what you're expecting. So when you put it in perspective of now they're available, they can be sold at 60. We go from, hey, that's at its money to, yeah, that's awesome. So I'm gonna give it a 5 at the new value price point.
See, that's kind of what I meant to say,
Okay.
but that is not what I said. So, all right. Finally, would you buy it?
Yes, I love this toy. I think it's amazing. Really cool details. It's deceivingly simple in design, but really beautiful.
I agree as well. I really like it. I want one. We're probably just gonna leave this one here. So.
I attempted to buy this when it was originally made available at DCon 2013, and it sold out super quick and fast, and I was not able to get one. So I'm stoked to be able to have that ability now and put it in my collection. So yes, I would love to have this.
And where would one buy one?
You can buy these at Happy Panda Toys. We're located in downtown Las Vegas. If you're not located in Vegas, you can go to www.happypandatoys.com. It'll be in the designer toy section or in the new arrivals section this week. Thank you guys so much for viewing in again. If you have any comments, any critiques, we're working on the volume issues. I get it.
Well,
Thank you for letting me know.
I imagine these people are curious as to where we ended up scoring this.
Oh,
So
Here we go.
With no further ado, Ilani, you scored this an average of 4.8.
wow.
Love
Rich
it.
and I both scored this one at a 4.6, which again is a great score. It's an
Yeah.
amazing piece. So thank MightyJaxx for putting this out and EwokOne for coming up with this concept originally. So thank you guys.
Have a good night.